What's up, Reefers? Welcome back to another episode. Today we're still in New York. We're in upstate New York, actually. We came to see Vince. Vince invited us over. He's got a 180-gallon Red Sea tank. It looks phenomenal. I went inside and I was like, wow, SPS dominated. Did I say more? So enough with the talk. Let's go inside. Let's go grab him. Come on. Oh, I forgot one thing, guys. Hold on. I forgot one thing. I'm going to be at Reefapalooza in California on September 7th and 8th. First 50 people who mention this video say, hey, Victor told me I can get a free t-shirt. First 50 people on Saturday. First thing, 11 a.m. Go to the booth, talk to the guys on the booth, say, I want my free t-shirt. We'll see you guys there, September 7th and 8th, Reefapalooza, California. All right, guys, we're here with Vince. Vince, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Vic.
Oh, man, what a surprise walking into this thing, man.
Thank you.
I came to New York yesterday. I did 2 tanks yesterday. Yours today. All 3 tanks look phenomenal. I mean, you guys are doing something right around here. Where have you guys been? I've been asking for more tanks to film in this area, and I don't know where everyone's been hiding. Where do we start, man? I mean, first thing, how long have you been in the hobby?
I've been in the hobby since like I was a kid, probably like 7, 8 years old, but that was freshwater. I would say reef and saltwater, maybe the last 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
So you've been reefing for 20 years?
Yep.
It shows, man. I mean,
Thank you.
look, I don't even have to look at your sump, but if anything looks like it's inside the tank on the bottom, I'm putting you in the meticulous club, man. I mean, this thing looks phenomenal. Super, super clean, super organized. Let's take it from the top.
Sure.
Your lighting. We were just commenting how beautiful this color is. What lights are you running? I see some Kessels here.
Yeah, so these are the A360Xs, the tuna blues.
Okay.
And then I've got the Reef Bright XHO. Probably should have done the longer ones, but these are working as well. Yeah, so it turns out to be a really good combo. The Kessels are super adjustable, so if I want it white, the blue is going to give it a little pop. And then they're basically, the Kessels are run on the spectral controller. So it starts off in the morning, it's like a 12-hour cycle. Starts off pretty blue, gets very white until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then gets bluer throughout the day.
Gotcha. One of the most beautiful things is the shimmer effect that these lights are giving.
Yeah, and that's what I like about the Kessels compared to one of the other stuff that I've looked at. This looks, to me personally, looks more like a natural sunlight. Like a
highlight.
Yeah.
Like a 20K highlight, right?
Exactly. But even like scuba diving or snorkeling or something, when you see the way that the sun hits the sand, it looks a lot more like the way these lights are as opposed to some of the other LEDs that I've seen.
I definitely like it, man. It looks beautiful.
Great lights.
So what are the dimensions of this tank?
You know what? I don't know the exact. This is a Reefer 525. I believe 525. It's like a 5-foot long tank, I believe. Probably 24.
I want to say 6.
6 foot, is it?
Yeah.
Gallon wise, I think the whole system's like 140, like with everything all in, including the sump.
How long has this specific tank been running here?
This tank's been about a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah, but most of the stuff was like the larger colonies you see here were transplanted from the previous tank, which was the Reefer 350. Okay. Which was basically this, it was from there to here. It was just 2 doors.
So it's like 2/3 of it.
Yeah. So a lot of this, in fact, none of the rock, that tank was packed with rock. It was like more of a reef wall. This was more, I basically took it apart. I even threw a lot of rock out. Actually, there's some stuff in the sump, some old rock in the sump still. And I made all the little islands. But most of the bigger colonies were from the previous tank, including all the fish. I mean, a lot of the fish in here are 5 or 6 year old fish.
So I got a good question for you.
Sure.
When you transfer the tank from the old tank to this tank, do you literally break down the old tank and put it all into the new one? What was the process like?
It was a little bit of a nightmare.
Was it?
Doing that because we were having the floors redone in here also. So, and I didn't have this tank yet. So we had to move the old tank from this room into the dining room. So I had vats and bins all over the place, moved everything into the vats and bins. Then my sons and my brother-in-law came over and we got the tank up on dollies, moved it into the other room, reset up the entire tank because this wasn't here for like another month.
Okay, so we're on the same page. So,
right.
So you basically moved the old tank.
Yeah.
Set up the new tank.
Yep.
Start cycling the new tank.
Yep.
And then after a few months, I want to say, you start moving the stuff
No,
slowly?
it was like a couple days because I still had 100 gallons of water from the old tank. So it was really, I probably put like 40 or 50 new gallons of water in. Is it, I don't know if it was the ideal way to do it, but there was no new rock, most of the sand was from the old tank also. So it was really just like some new water going in. So everything just moved in within a couple of days.
Well, the reason why I'm asking, I don't know if you've seen my videos, but I'm getting rid of my, oops. You can keep that in. I'm just kidding. No, guys, seriously, I'm getting rid of my 80-gallon tank. I'm going to upgrade. This is the cat is out the bag. I'm going to upgrade to a 180-gallon tank. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my 80-gallon tank to a different part of the office.
Right.
And I'm going to set up the new one for about 2 or 3 months. And then slowly but surely, I'm going to test that new acros.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to transfer everything because I got a lot of high-end acros.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to take the chance of them browning, receding, or whatever the case may be.
Some of the stuff took, you know, I didn't really lose anything, but some of the stuff did. Like the color was going off.
It's not the same. You can tell they're mad.
No, and everything came back, but it was definitely, I'm sure there's a better way of, you know, going about it.
So we were just talking about your fish. You mind mentioning some of the fish that you have in here?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different types of anthias. I have the Avansi anthias.
Right here?
There's 2 of those.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, those are great. Those are like one of my favorites. There's 2 dispar. That's the male. There's a female. The female's hiding right now. And then there's 5 or 6 lyre tail anthias. There's 1 male, and then different size females.
Okay.
And then I have a clownfish. That's at least 6 years. He's been here 6 years. The yellow tang, that's a Hawaiian tang I got about 6 years ago. Like, you know, the size of a dime, basically. All the convict and the hippo tang were all like super tiny when I got them.
Yeah.
And then we got the Watanabe female.
Yeah.
There's a stark-eyed damsel.
3 chromis.
3 chromis, yep.
Samini tang.
Oh, the Tomini tang, yeah, forgot about him.
What do you feed your tank?
They get mysis, they get brine shrimp, and then I do the Nutrimar. Yeah.
I've been feeding those a lot.
Yeah.
How do you get into those?
I probably saw a video of them or something and saw them on
I'm in love with them. I tried them a year ago.
Yeah.
And they're phenomenal.
Yeah, the fish love them. Even the anthias are eating those. And then I
feed them as pellets, and then I like crumble it and
yeah,
make coral food.
Totally. You could do that too, yep. And then I do algae, nori for the tangs like
every day?
Every single day. Yeah, big chunk. And otherwise, I don't know if they would all be coinciding if they didn't have that. I think it makes them less aggressive when there's a lot of food for them.
And Flo, I see you have 2 MP40s from Ecotech Marine?
2 MP40s.
Plenty, right?
It is right this second, but you know, I was mentioning to you before, I just did a big teardown, or I cut back a lot of coral. So like these acropora here, the blue slimer and the green slimer were growing out of the tank. So the flow from this powerhead was not making it to this side of the tank. There was just a lot of, you know, it was blocking a lot of flow. And at that point, 2 was not enough. It would have been better to have something on the back wall or even one of those.
Like an MP10 on the back?
Yeah, or something like that. But so I really cut everything back a lot. This bird's nest was gigantic. They were all just blocking the flow.
Yeah.
So right now, it's working pretty good. But yeah, that's always kind of an issue when things start to grow.
So one thing worth mentioning, you got a bunch of these feathered dusters coming out of the sand everywhere. Yeah. I love those things.
Yeah.
It's just such a good filtration for the tank. They're everywhere back there.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your corals. It's mainly SPS dominated.
Yep.
Mainly. Is that your passion, acroporas and SPS?
I do love SPS corals, but I also don't know that I would want the tank without some of the other stuff like the LPS. I love the Duncans. Typically they're out a little bit more. I know it's kind of early still. They're usually out and flowing a little bit more. I like a little bit of motion too, and I kind of like the shapes of some of the. Yeah. I think it just adds diversity to
the leather back there.
Yeah, there's a couple of leathers in here. So I like having a diverse tank in here. You know, the SPS are beautiful, but it's static. They're not moving. They're not giving a lot of life. As far as color goes, I think they're beautiful. I mean, it's like a beautiful palette of colors.
Yeah.
But I do like to you know,
that extra motion.
Yeah, anytime I've been snorkeling or something, you see things moving on the reef, which I really love. I want to try to make it look as natural as possible. So I do love having both.
And then you got forest fire right here?
Yeah, another one that's like I'll just transplant all over, or you know, I've cut that a million times.
And what do you continue doing with this course? Because you have a lot of coral warfare going on here.
Yeah, so it's just constantly like shaving stuff back. The purple and the blue slimer and the green slimer, before I trimmed them, they were fused. They were growing on top of one another, which looked really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without stinging each other, they just learn how to.
No, they just kind of like, you know, started folding over one another.
So another thing is worth mentioning right here. I love candy cane.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's the neon green or the purple with the green or the basic green with the mint green inside. I think it's such a beautiful coral, man.
I love it, and I love the shape too. I think it just adds like a cool dimension to the tank, having like the rounder corals in there.
Let me ask you a little bit about some of the maintenance on this tank. Do you do water changes?
I do, not religiously. You know, I used to do like once every 2 weeks, and honestly, I think I was knocking the nutrients down too low, which was bad.
Too clean.
Yeah, I think this tank has very good biological filtration right now because the parameters stay pretty stable as far as the phosphate. Actually, nitrite I haven't tested in like a year probably. So right now I'm doing a water change like just when I have time, maybe like once a month or once every 2 months. I've gone
10
like
times a year?
yeah,
8
something
times a
like
year,
that.
something like that?
Yeah, probably.
And what salt do you use?
The Red Sea Blue Bucket.
Okay, when you
Yeah.
change the water, how much water do you change?
Usually like 20 gallons,
20
something
gallons?
like that.
So
Yeah.
nothing too...
No, not a big, not unless there was like some kind of catastrophe, which I haven't really had, where I'd have to do more. But yeah, typically just something like that, where I'll get in with the vacuum and hit a couple spots just to make sure there's nothing building up anywhere.
So you were saying you don't test for nitrates, basically.
No, not
How
really.
about phosphates?
Phosphates, I actually tested before. It was 0.04,
Okay.
which is usually between like there and 1. You know, like right up to about
That's
1.
ideal.
Yeah,
As long as they don't go over 1.
Right.
Calcium
Calcium's like around 400 to 420.
and alkalinity?
Alkalinity is usually like somewhere between 7 and 8. But because I've been moving, like taking things out recently, I've had to make some adjustments because, you know, I took out some huge stuff and then the consumption was less.
Gotcha.
So if, you know, I didn't adjust the actual, you know, doser.
Yeah.
So the alkalinity was rising. It got up to like 10 or 11 or something like that. And I didn't see anything. It happened gradually. So there wasn't like a huge, like nothing was
Big
really,
deal.
no, it wasn't a big deal, but I don't really typically keep it up there. So now I've cut back the dosing a little bit. If you want to see it, there's
Yeah,
a little, you know, I just have there's 2 Camor dosers. And
Okay.
they're pulling from the, those are ESV buckets, but it's the BRS alkalinity calcium.
Okay.
And then
So you got those in pumps for
Yep.
the A and the B.
Yep.
And the magnesium you do it by hand.
Yeah, I do
do
it
the
by
same
hand.
thing.
Yeah.
I do cold wash automated, and I
Right.
just do my magnesium 2 or 3 times. I just pour it.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's
I don't
about
even measure it.
it's about 1300. It stays around there.
So, and what are you running for a protein skimmer here?
That's the Nios. I think it's the 160.
160.
Yeah.
And then I see you have a little carbon canister,
Yeah, that's actually GFO.
GFO.
Yeah,
Okay.
which I don't always run. I was feeding the corals a lot the last couple months, and I could see the phosphate ticking up, so I just put a little bit in there. That's another thing I've learned. I put like the suggested dose in a couple times in the past, and it you know, dropped the phosphate too quick, and I did notice.
Oh yeah, I tell people all the time.
Yeah.
Anytime that you introduce anything on your tank, either it's a treatment that you're doing, or you're running carbon or GFO, whatever it may be, do have to do.
Right, exactly.
Just to have a peace of mind that, and then you see how the tank reacts, and then
Yeah.
you can move up to a little more.
Yeah, that always works the best.
And then you got a Vectra return pump.
That's actually, yeah, there's 2 Vectras. One's running, there's a UV sterilizer in there that's mounted up against the back. So that Vectra's running that. I have it on like the lowest setting. And then the same pump is the return pump. I think it's the M1.
Gotcha. And then you're running a UV, aqua ultraviolet.
Yep, I'm using the stock, you know, ATO, which is just a float valve,
Yeah,
you
right
know,
to the
gravity
point.
fed, basically.
No controller.
No, the only,
Keeping it real simple.
yeah, it's just the lighting is on the Kessel controller. That's the only controller I have.
So
Yeah.
there's a case of control and the controllers for the power head,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, there's the Reef Brights are on like just an old school timer. That's pretty
And
much it.
what about when you go out of town? Who helps you take care of the tank?
Yeah, so I usually have somebody that comes and stays, somebody I've known for a long time that was in the hobby for years, and he'll just come in basically every day and make sure
Yeah.
everything is running smoothly. I just don't trust leaving this alone for any extended amount of time.
It's your baby, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, totally.
Vince, thanks for having me
Of
over.
course,
I
man.
appreciate it, man. Your tank looks
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoy this tank. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Give us a like, post some comments below. If there's comments below, don't be shy. Jump in there and just answer some questions.
Got it.
We'll see you guys on the next episode.